This is pretty much me talking about what happened last night on Once Upon a Time, and who wore it best, me or David Nolan. Anyways, let's talk about Once Upon a Time. What did you guys feel about this episode? Personally, I thought this one was a big step up from the premiere. I mean, the premiere was pretty much just a lot of flash and not a lot of bang, if that even makes sense. Mostly it was just getting past the fact that, holy crap, they managed to put Frozen characters on our TV less than a year since the movie came out. I mean, honestly, yeah, that might have been a cash grab, but you know what? I kind of like it. I'm glad that they weren't going to sit on it for 3 years and try to do it later when it's desperate for ratings. I like it now. So, you know what? A+. I like this episode a lot better because it actually integrated the characters into the story instead of just having Elsa sulking around Storybrooke. So, personally, I give this episode probably a 7 out of 10. And it wasn't perfect. No, not at all perfect. But it actually advanced the plot, albeit slowly, more than last week's, which was basically just a setup for the rest of the season. So, first I want to talk about the flashbacks to the Enchanted Forest, or Miss Daven. I liked these flashbacks in theory. I don't really like the retconning of the past to make it so we can tie these characters in, because obviously Anna was just tied into David by this flashback. They probably never would have thought of this had they not decided to integrate Frozen. I don't know, it just kind of seemed sort of plot filly, I don't know. But it gave us one of the most weird, I don't know, I couldn't really wrap my head around Bo Peep being this, like, day drinking, no, there's no evidence she was day drinking, but she seemed drunk to me, bitchy warlord, even though she only had like 2 soldiers with her. Apparently she had this huge army, but she didn't. I don't know, she was just so weird. And I'm going to introduce a segment at the end of this episode where I show you the tweets from last night live while I was watching the show, and you'll see my reaction to her. Took up a good chunk of those. But anyway, so we had those flashbacks, and that was basically to set up the fact later that David already knew who Anna was and knew where to look for her. But I thought the flashbacks were okay. I liked Anna better in these flashbacks than I did last week's episode. She seemed more genuine and less like a caricature of the character from the movie. She actually felt like a human being in this one. Bo Peep, weird. The crook thing was weird. I don't know. It just, Once Upon a Time likes to fall back on their little own, I don't know what you call it, thing, for lack of a better word, of here's a magical object that we just talked about and introduced in this episode and we'll never talk about again after this episode, but it helps us with the plot. I don't know what you call that, but so there was that. What do you guys think about the Bo Peep, David / Prince Charming, and Anna flashbacks? Yay or nay on those? In the main story, Elsa freezes a wall around Storybrooke even though she has no idea the boundaries of Storybrooke, so I don't know if she just plop a circle over it or what. And that basically cuts off the power, which sets up our B plot, which is trying to get the power back on, and that puts Snow over here with the dwarves and Granny. And we're going to talk about Granny's awesome one-liner, which was the line of the night. In the A plot, which is Elsa and Hook, David, and Emma. So they go to figure out, hey, what's this wall doing here? And lo and behold, they frighten Elsa, and down into an icy chamber goes Emma and Elsa. Now, Hook and Charming then have to try to save her because they can't get in there, and Elsa can't thaw out the ice wall because she doesn't have Anna there to help her remember how to do it, I guess, is what they try to tell you. So that sends David and Hook off on a mission to find Anna. That's the only way Elsa will unthaw the wall and keep Emma from dying. And then in our B plot, to win the power back, we have Granny who delivers a line, I've got a fridge full of iffy clams back home. Now, if you think about that in a that's what she said kind of context, it is hilarious. So we have Snow and a couple of these sassy dwarves, and Snow basically just snaps and screams at them until they leave, basically saying, I know why Regina was evil, it wasn't her, it was you people, whining. So that was pretty funny. She gets the power back on and it's whatever. I just thought that was kind of amusing, seeing her freak out at them. That was kind of cool. But back in our main plot, David and Hook run into Gold, who gets his only scene in this episode, basically having Belle look up in a catalog of all the stuff they ever had to find the necklace that Elsa took. They realize it belongs to Anna, and hey, "Oh yeah, I know Anna because it was retconned," says David. So they know that Anna has been here basically because her necklace is here. And so they go back to the wall to tell Elsa this, and they realize that they're not going to be able to find her in time before Emma dies. So Elsa manages to remember how to remove her ice magic when David tells her a saying that Elsa had, or excuse me, when David tells her a saying that Anna told him back in the flashbacks. So she gets a nice little pea-sized hole that they both crawl out of the ice wall, and everything's fine. And they go back later, Emma and Elsa, to go take the wall down, and then we realize, hey, this wall isn't coming down, and I'm using my ice removal magic, and it's not budging. So we're like, what the hell is going on here? And that cuts to the end of the episode where we have Elizabeth Mitchell from Lost. She's just, hanging out in her ice cream parlor, and lo and behold, she leans against the freezer, and frost just goes all over behind her. So we get hashtag Ice Queen. If you can hear that was Ice Queen. So they're basically taking Frozen and the story that Frozen is based off and mashing them together. Some people think it's The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe Ice Queen, but I'm pretty sure it's not. So she is the Ice Queen, and now the theories start flying that she is Elsa's mother or something. There's another weird one where they think that she's Elsa's daughter, which, if it's Once Upon a Time, it probably is, because it doesn't make any sense, and that makes sense on Once Upon a Time. And then the last thing I want to talk about is Henry and Regina, because they had just like a sliver of screen time. Regina had one scene where basically you see the back of her pantsuit for the whole scene. Henry is trying to cheer her up because she is so heartbroken and mad over Robin dumping her. So he basically ends up knocking on her door, pleading to let him in, figuratively and emotionally, because let's be honest, they live in a freaking studio apartment with David, Mary Margaret, Emma, and now probably Elsa because she has nowhere to live, plus a newborn baby, all in a studio apartment, plus Henry. No, I would not want to live there either. No wonder he wants to get back in that mansion. So Regina lets him in, they hug, and it's an awesome moment. But I couldn't help thinking this entire episode wasn't the best, and the reason I gave it a 7 is because our two big scene stealers and big bad / maybe sometimes good characters, Regina and Rumpelstiltskin, were barely in this episode, and I didn't like that. I didn't need the power plant subplot. I would have rather had more Rumpelstiltskin, or at least another scene or any scenes with Regina in them. So that's what held this episode back for me. It was alright, but there was parts where it dragged because we didn't have any of our usual favorite characters on. So that is why I give it 7 out of 10 snowflakes. So that's it for this episode, Oncers. I'm going to show you the tweets I sent out live during the show. I'll show that in a little clip after I stop talking here. So once again, dearies, see you later.